Welcome back, everybody, to iRacing. We are switching things up today from the F4 car that I was driving earlier to my GT4, my AMG. This is a front-engined GT4 car. It's a V6, a lot of fun to drive. Really enjoy driving it, and in the GT4 series. So I think I'll take you through some of our races today at the Charlotte Roval track. Now, I do have to admit, the Charlotte Roval is not my favorite track on the service, but I do tend to get along with it fairly well, so I can't give it too much shade in that regard. It's not an absolute banger, but it's not a complete stinker either, so I suppose it's not all bad. Anyway, we're going to go through the first qualifying lap here at the Charlotte Roval. So we take the infield section after the very long, it feels like it's almost over half the track, maybe even 3/4 of the entire oval, the outside section, which really dominates the lap times, it feels like, in this track. If you get the oval wrong, you're going to be really slow and lose a lot of time. So what that means is that the exits of the corners are really important, which is unfortunate because coming up to here, this corner here, I always struggled to get on the outside enough. You see, I actually kind of go in the middle of the track here and just absolutely lock the wheel to the outside wall, and you have to get a good exit. My previous lap, this is actually the second lap of qualifying. My previous lap, as you may be able to see on the dash there, was a 1:27.4, which is not very good. We're looking to go, ideally, a couple seconds faster than that. But we'll see how we actually get on here as we go through the chicane. And really important here that you maximize how close you are to that wall there. We didn't get that close, to be honest. It was a pretty conservative line, but it's not going to hurt it too much. We are going to keep going here, just through the banking, holding the low line, which is the fastest as far as I'm aware. I've done a few oval races that I'm going to make videos for, but coming through the last chicane here, up to the line, and we crossed the line. It was a pretty safe lap, to be honest, of 26.387, so we went like about a second faster, which is all right. We're going to jump into the race here. So the first of two races in this video, starting in P11, huge grid. There's always huge grids. The GT4 has huge participation, which makes it a lot of fun because there's lots of drivers that are close to your level in skill. We're going to come through the chicane here to start the race, and there's already going to be chaos. Before the race has even begun, there's a rear ending. Is that a McLaren getting rear-ended by a Mustang? There's two cars that are spun, make it three now. Everyone's making their way through, bouncing into cars. Absolutely incredible scenes here at Charlotte. Just chaos. BMW behind almost gets me. There's two more cars having an accident on the right side there, so you got to be really careful. And this is the point of the race where I tell you this is actually the first race with the new GT4 tire model, which led to a lot of chaos as it was a lot less grippy. As we are going to see here, we come through in the Blancpain livery, and then behind, absolute chaos. We have a spinner, two into the wall, collects a third. He smushes a fourth car. Someone gets pushed out of the way into a different car. Absolute chaos. I loved this point of view. This Porsche driver hits the BMW and says, no, we're actually going to keep going. Just floors it and pushes him out of the way. Absolutely devilish, evil tactics. Look at that. Just hits him from behind and then says, sorry, you're going to move. Which causes him to hit a different car in return. So that sucked for everybody involved. Onto this right-hand turn. The Porsche came in and another AMG, the Hot Wheels AMG, are going to go flying off, expecting more grip than they had. Then this Porsche here, who actually got into a big accident earlier, is going to have a huge moment there. And as you can see, this, I believe it's a Cayman, right? Has no rear wing, steering is bent, continues to keep racing pretty much on the line, has a spin as you can imagine, and then gets collected by another car. Unbelievable, this Mustang. I mean, probably should have seen that coming from a little ways away, but still, what a horrible way. Your steering column is bent now. What a horrible way to have your race ruined because some guy whose car shouldn't even have been on the road decides to spin, and you collect them. So, really unfortunate there. And as you can see, just a load of chaos on the opening lap. Everyone's trying to figure out how this new tire model works, how it heats up, and it's just absolute scenes in general. The new tire model is very cold on the opening laps as we get behind this Mustang here through the oval section. There's quite a lot of slipstream. It's not insignificant. But yeah, the new tire model was very brutal when it came out. Got a bit of a mixed reception I see on social media and on the forums. Some people hate it. Some people are like, it's great. It's a lot better. It does feel to me a lot more planted to the road, but it is also much more unforgiving, especially when the tires are cold. The warm-up sequence takes a good lap to get going, and then it's absolutely brutal conditions for the first lap. But once it gets going, it's not so bad. There's actually quite a lot of grip in the tires, but it's pretty tough going for the first lap. Anyway, getting behind this Mustang, we're going to get pretty close to him in the hairpin here. Absolute full left lock, and he actually goes wide. We get alongside, but the front engine Mercedes has a little bit of a snap on the rear end, which is going to slow us down. We are going to get just barely alongside, a couple inches. Now I think our front and rear tires are aligned. Now we're pretty much fully alongside, and now we're actually pulling ahead as we go down here into the chicane. Can we make it happen? Yes, we can. He slots in right behind us. Right behind us. With the BMW actually goes for an attack on the outside, but he can't quite make it work. The Mustang has pretty good power, or at least it did back when this was recorded, right at the very start of that season. Now we're going through the oval once more. This is, I think, the second or third lap. Running through the final chicane here, we actually, as you can see from the tires, have a bit of a moment. Don't really get the grip we want. Again, the tires are just so much more unforgiving on this new tire model. And that actually lets the Mustang and the BMW get alongside me. The BMW goes up the inside of the Mustang, makes the move, completes it. Now there's an AMG joining the party as well. But here we have a Cayman on the outside. He's actually going to collect the AMG a little bit. He's going to spin himself off and throw the AMG into the wall, which is very unfortunate, giving the Mustang a little bit of a run to go up the inside, and he dives up the inside with it. That was pretty cool. Anyway, we keep the BMW behind us for now, going through the sweeping right-hander. We're going to jump ahead, no real threat behind, into the final chicane to start another lap. Clobber over it. You have to really be quite aggressive with it. I find that the AMG is quite planted in that regard. It eats the curbs pretty well without complaining. Though I do also find that the Porsche GT3 feels the same way to me, despite it being a rear-engine car. It's got quite similar characteristics in terms of how much curb you can take to the GT4 AMG, which is strange considering how different cars they are in terms of design philosophy. Back to the pedal cam. I like how well rendered and like how detailed it is down there. But the BMW behind us at the end of the next lap is going to actually get a good run on us as we get a pretty poor run through this chicane, the final chicane. But he backs off, doesn't want to go too wide into turn one, which, I mean, it would have been fine. I would have given him space, but he decides to stick behind us for now as we go through the beginning of the infield section. There's the double right-hander we're coming up on now. And this BMW is definitely hunting us down. He's putting the pressure on. He's making me look in my mirrors, which is definitely not the fastest way to get around it. And there's 3 more cars behind, so if we have any kind of incidents, it's not going to be the one place that we lose. We're going to lose several positions. This is definitely a hotly contested part of the track. We're in about, I want to say, 7th, maybe 8th. And we go wide, unfortunately, through the sharp left-hander that goes onto the oval. BMW gets a run, doesn't quite make it work, but he dives to the inside, the low line, and just gets an amazing run. Maybe he has just more power, I don't know. But he gets almost and then completely past me. We're just hanging on to the outside. Can we make it work? Down the inside he goes. Then we have to take evasive action over the outside of the track because I didn't feel like I had enough room to complete the move. In hindsight, I think he did give me enough room to complete the move, but it didn't look like it in the moment, and I didn't want to risk clobbering over the curb and destroying his race, as well as mine, so I decided to take avoiding action. As you can see, he actually did leave me a fair amount of space, but just made a judgment call in that moment. And then we do, in fact, lose 3 positions to the cars ahead. This is the blue AMG that got hit into the wall. I guess he survived. Now we are closing up on both him and the black AMG in front, the Michelin liveried car. And we're going to go up the inside of turn 1. Can we get the run on the car beside us? Yes, we can. Can't quite complete the move. We're going to go side by side into turn 2. And then I believe this is turn 3 here. Still side by side, hanging it around. But he's going to get just ahead of us on the inside and take the inside line. We have a bit of a wide moment there. Doesn't help us at all. Going all the way to the outside over the blue line, which looks like track limits, but it's very strange how the circuit is just allowing you to do that. But anyway, we go down, approaching the sharp left-hand hairpin that I do not like at all. kind of makes my wrists hurt when I drive. We're going to go up the inside of the black AMG, get to the apex first, get the car turned around very quickly, and then there's a little bit of, I don't know if it was contact, there was a little bit of squirming going on, but it gets really close to the inside. We're going to go down to the very bottom line to make sure that he can't get past us. We do not want to get past at all if we can help it, and if we can just get through the chicane, we should be safe. But he's right close up on us, and he actually goes flying ahead into the chicane, cutting the track. And that means he's going to have to serve a slowdown penalty. You don't get to get away with that in iRacing. So we close up on him in the slipstream, and then he graciously pulls to the outside, slows down to serve his penalty for cutting the chicane, cutting the chicken, and we get clean by him. So that's a position we gained pretty much for free, thankfully. Although we did, I guess, have to fight for it a little bit in the hairpin going onto the oval. But anyway, we get behind this blue AMG, and then we don't really manifest anything much after that. There's not really a way for us to get by him. He had pretty reliable pace, but I was not prepared to make any insane moves. We get pretty close to him actually on the inside here, just because he makes a mistake, and we go all the way past him. It looks like we can, just again holding the inside line. It's very powerful. It's just objectively faster. He tucks in behind us pretty loosely, but coming into the chicane for the second half of the oval, he's going to stay behind us, and we're going to get the position. So that's fantastic. Another position gained for free. As we approach the end of the race here, he stays behind us. He's close. He's keeping us honest, but we are able to keep it and finish P6. Not bad at all. It was a good result. Definitely a race of attrition, I'll tell you that. It was not an easy race learning the new tire model, even though we had practiced beforehand. The first race is always something else. So it was a lot of fun, though. It was definitely a learning experience. I'm glad I wasn't taken out. But we're going to move on to the next race, which is a little bit different, and we'll see what happens then. As we begin the second race here, you'll notice that there's actually some LMP3s in this grid. That's because we're doing the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge instead of the GT4 Challenge. This is a multi-class race. Here's the GT4s. There I am, flashing my lights on the left side. And we're going to start the race 1.456 seconds down from the pole time in class. So that was tough, even though I was, I think, P6 here to start. It just goes to show what dedication and practice and skill makes a difference in these kind of races. So we're going to get started here, going into the chicane onto the start-finish line. We're just going to start the race. We're going to start immediately on the inside, I suppose, and then the outside of that black AMG. We're going to get past him. It's before the start line, but I didn't get a penalty for it, so I don't feel like it was a problem. What was a problem was this AMG that had no internet connection. This guy, I had to go far on the outside not to get hit by them. I don't want him to have any kind of collision with a bad netcode. Whoa, right up against the wall there. There's another spin behind. We don't have time to investigate it. We have a battle on our hands. My main priority at this point was to get past this Hot Wheels AMG. I did not want to deal with his connection stuttering out, him going invisible in the middle of a turn. It was not conducive to a good race. We get a really good run on him, actually, when I can see him. Going into the left-hand hairpin here, onto the oval. We're going to shoot it down the inside. He's gone. I don't know where he is. Did we get past him? Is he on our right? Are we going to squish him into the wall? No. It looks like we're past him. Oh, thank God. So that's a problem that we no longer have to deal with, which is huge. Thankfully, we got past the bad internet user, and we're able to continue the race. 3 cars directly ahead of us going into the chicane. It's pretty close, and the more they fight, the closer that I'm going to get. That's my hope, at least. But I did find pretty well-disciplined drivers, to be honest, in this series. It is only a C-class series, I believe. But there's a lot of B-class and even A-class drivers. I think it's just a fun series. There's an AMG. No, that was something else. That was a Ferrari, I think. It was some kind of car on the left side there that we've gained a position on. And the AMG behind us, the Hot Wheels, who's no longer blinking now that we're past him, of course. He's a little bit far as we skip ahead a little bit to a different AMG who's now behind us. And as you can see, the first 2 of the LMP3s are now approaching. This is the multi-class aspect of the race. The LMPs are much faster, much better on, well, they're a bit better on the brakes, but much more acceleration, a much more powerful engine, a lot more downforce. The first one gets past us just fine. And then the P2 Golf liveried LMP3 gets past just fine. I am in absolutely no mood to fight an LMP3 for no reason. But I do also find that there's a bit of animosity between the LMP and the GT4 drivers, and there's a, what is that, a Mustang on the left side. He thinks he's a lawnmower. That's just not correct. Sorry, bro. But yeah, lots of animosity in general between the slower and faster classes, which I'm sure is a thing in most series that are multi-class. But, you know, the LMPs will blame the GT4s for, like, fighting for positions that don't actually exist, blocking them on the straights and whatnot, and into corners. As we're actually going to see here with the Barbie car, this Mustang closes the apex, and the Barbie car has to slow down to avoid getting hit. Why not just go a little bit wider there and let the LMP through? You're not fighting him for position. But, of course, on the other hand, as we get pretty close actually to this Mustang, but then we get overtaken by the LMP, have to slow down a little bit, because again, they're not my race. There's no point in fighting them. But, you know, the GT4s will claim the LMP3s are too aggressive, throwing it down the inside when they shouldn't be, as we're going to maybe throw it down the inside of this green Mustang here, who got a pretty poor run over that little hill section, which I was quite good at, right down the inside, secure the apex, get it turned around. Look at this AMG behind. He goes in and takes my move and gains the position himself. So the Mustang actually lost 2 positions there. That was a beautiful move from the AMG behind. Hats off to that. That was really cool to see. We're going to run it down the oval once more. Gap behind and gap ahead are pretty similar at this point, so I'm not too concerned, as this Mustang comes out of nowhere to overtake the AMG again. That was insane. Let's take another look at that. Holy moly. From downtown, over a car length back, he just sends it into the chicane. The AMG sees it, thankfully, gets right on his tail. Wow, that was something else. The AMG is not happy. He's going to flash his lights for a good couple of seconds to let the Mustang know what he thinks about that. I mean, at the end of the day, there was no contact, but that was not a safe move, to put it that way. But you know, it was good showmanship. It was very fun to watch. And sorry about the Discord sound there. I guess I didn't have that muted when I was recording. But you'll all live. As we get closer to this red AMG behind, I was behind him for pretty much the whole race. Remember, this is like a 45-minute race, so it was quite long. No pit stop, though. But we're going to run up to the end of the finish line here. Final chicane, car on the left, just don't hit him. And we crossed the line to finish the race. And it was pretty fun. I ended up in P6. Not a bad result. I mean, it's multi-class. You're doing good not to lose any positions at all. It was, again, a race of attrition, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Multi-class is something I really enjoy. So hopefully there's more of that in the future. Otherwise, thank you for watching, as always. Feel free to check out some other videos of mine that are on the screen in front of you, hopefully. Other than that, have a good day. Thanks for showing up. Hope to see you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.